Ready to hit the pause button on your parenting fails? Ready to feel better about your parenting? Welcome to Parenting Pause, the podcast, where all of you is welcome. I'm Leslie Potter, the founder of the Pure Joy Way, a mother, a parent coach, and a fellow traveler on this journey to wake up in our parenting. And I believe together we can make this a better world for ourselves and our kiddos. I found in parenting, one of the hardest things to do was to trust myself. I know this is a really hot topic because I hear about it from so many mamas. And one of the mamas I work with expressed it so beautifully. She says, I get so confused on when I should trust myself and when I should trust the experts, right? And I just love this because I think we all have this bit of a division around this because we as children were not taught to trust our bodies and our beings. We weren't actually supported to experience difficult feelings that came up. And when those feelings did come up and we acted out, we were told that we were bad or wrong or rude because it caused so much discomfort in our parents. And they didn't quite know how to work with their discomfort. It kind of passes down in the generations, right? So we didn't learn that we could stay with our intense feelings and not make decisions or choices out of an emotional place. Now, if we had had someone that could stay with us through our intensity of feeling, which I'm going to teach you about today, then we can move through that intensity of feeling and we come into a deeper understanding or another place. I call it my present moment brain that won't be projecting into the future or back into the past, and will be trusting myself in that moment to make the choice that I make. And what that offers to our children, it's a much deeper level of confidence. If they experience our confidence, they don't know the right or wrong. They are just extremely emotional themselves, right? So if they're having a deep emotion and they want something, and we're trying to figure out if it's good for them or is it bad for them, or all of those things that we try to figure out, or am I going to hurt them or not hurt them, we aren't confident in our own knowing. And our children are just in that emotional realm. So as we learn to be with our intense emotions that come up, then we can feel more and more confident in our choices. And it's not so much about your kids at that point. And the truth is, I don't ever really know how my parenting is affecting my daughter or how that outcome's going to happen. So I started recognizing that I'm going to steer away as far as I can from parenting for outcome. And I'm going to try to parent the most integrally I can, the most truthfully I can, the best I can in this moment. So one of the ways that this happens a lot of times is around school. And I just want to give you a little example of when my daughter, when I made a choice to take her to preschool. I think she was probably 3.5 or 4. I came up with so many reasons why this was good for her. First of all, I told myself I had to work and that she had to go and that she needed to grow up and it was a good thing for her. And I kept going on and on about, I read all the studies and this was good. I knew she was going to have a hard time, but, I was doing the right thing. But this was all up in my mind, right? And so when I was focusing on trying to find all the reasons it was good for her and everybody else was telling me it was good for her, but this was really, really about me. Because the truth was I needed some support. And I needed some help. And the way I chose to get that at the time was to take her to preschool. And was that the best thing? I don't know. I mean, my daughter was very emotionally young. She had been adopted. I don't know if it was, but I can tell you she's 20 now and she's quite emotionally well and okay. But at that time, the choice that I made was to take her to preschool. And the more I began to own that choice, instead of trying to figure out was that the right or wrong choice, it was the choice that I made at that time. So I began to just trust myself more and more. And we never know, like a lot of the time, one of my clients says, that she went to a lecture where the teacher told her that, one day her kid was going to go to college. And so she needed to experience life. And so she needed to let her cry it out or whatever. And the mom was really shook up because her child was having a really, really difficult time letting go or, mom. And the mom was like, is it the right thing or is it the wrong thing? Right? We've all been there. And we get up in our head. And the truth is, your child, when you're taking them to preschool, is not in college, right? Your child is there in that moment in a very big emotional state. And if you're not able to tolerate your own emotional intensity and ride that intensity and ride the intensity with your child, most likely you won't be able to get to that trusting of yourself. Not that you're making the right or wrong decision for your child. I don't know if we can ever really know that. But what I would find was when I could make that choice inside myself, when I could ride through all those feelings, safe seat those, come back into myself, then I could make a more rational choice in a way, or, a present moment choice of what made the most sense for myself. And my daughter would like immediately calm. It was like kind of a miracle. But when I stayed in that emotional place and I was looking for her in a way to tell me what we could do or not do, and I didn't want to hurt her and I didn't want her to feel, I didn't want her to feel all the feelings that she was feeling. So this really didn't have to do with anything that I thought it did, which was taking her to preschool. As I like to say, it's never about what I think it's about. It was about my knowing inside of myself that I needed to ride those big feelings and she needed to ride those big feelings with my support. So I chose to take a stand at that point. And the teachers did not like it very much. I mean, they all kept telling me she was going to be fine, just let her cry it out and she would be okay. But that was not what my wisdom told me to do. My wisdom said if I could tolerate my intense feelings, I could stay there with my daughter and support her in tolerating her deep feelings until we could come back into that present moment. So this was what I chose to do. Fortunately, I did go to a preschool where they didn't like it so much, but they were willing to support me in that. And that was just a choice I made. And the teachers also were really confident more when I got confident in myself that that was what I was choosing to do. I trusted myself. So as you begin to look at decisions like this, ask yourself, like your children, any transition that's going to happen for them, they're most likely going to feel a lot of feelings and a lot of emotion. And if you're not comfortable feeling your feelings and your emotions, and if you're not, download that safe seat process that you can get on the website at purejoyparenting.com and begin to start supporting yourself, trusting yourself that you can stay with intense feelings, that they aren't going to kill you. They're going to feel like they're going to kill you. But if you make all of your choices out of trying not to feel those feelings, most likely you're going to look outside to others for, your answers of how to parent or how to be with your children. So do your best. Try not to get too caught up in all of the, the right or wrong or good or bad up in your minds when you're making these choices, and see if you can ride through your deep emotions. And then you're going to have a better opportunity to trust yourself, to trust your child. You know your child better than anyone. When they say all children do this, I like to say, I'm not living with all children. I'm living with my daughter. And the more I learned to trust myself, the more I began to separate out enough where I could trust my daughter. I could read her signals. She could read mine. And now, as a 20-year-old, my daughter trusts herself. It's so cool. Thank you for listening to this episode of Parenting Paused. If you enjoyed the episode, do me a favor and share it with your mama friends. You can also leave a review wherever you listen, which will support getting the Pure Joy message out. Come on over to the Pure Joy Parenting Practice Facebook page or join me on Instagram to hear more. And don't forget to download your free copy of the Safe Seat course on the Pure Joy website. And while there, check out the offerings page to go deeper in the Pure Joy work.